everyone can see my desktop in this presentation now. If you're up to speed and the slides are moving along at the pace that you need them to, you should see a fairly handsome gentleman with a name beneath it, Brian Alty. That is in fact me. So we're going to be talking about some ways, not necessarily all the ways, that you can increase profitability by incorporating EDI. But we're going to talk about 5 ways to do it today, probably the most important ways, and probably the ways that you'll be able to relate to your own businesses or your own clients' businesses. So as much as I hate to take the picture down of myself, I'm going to do that, and we'll just move along. So just to let you know a little bit about B2B Gateway, aside from the slides that you see or the bullets that you see right now, 1999, it's a long time. And I actually find that to be a very, very important factor when deciding who your EDI provider is going to be, because there are a ton of fly-by-night organizations out there. There are also a ton of companies that say they do EDI, but they don't necessarily integrate with the ERP, especially with these mid-market ERPs and accounting systems, which we do. And you can see a sampling of some of those down below, the Microsoft products there. NetSuite, Intuit, we're Intuit Gold level developer and have been for over a decade. So you can see there's a number of these. Another important thing, distinction, is that we also have offices in North America, Europe, and Australia. The reason why we did that is because we trade in those countries. We deal, with the different standards and protocols of each country, and very important to know that if you are going to be trading overseas and having, any operations, particularly with manufacturers overseas and that type of thing, we can, communicate all the languages that are used worldwide and not just the, ANSI X12 standard that's used predominantly in the United States and North America. That has helped us have, thousands of clients and trading partners worldwide. And again, as I was mentioning, all the different file formats are supported here. And all the different communication methods. That's often a question that comes up. Will they be able to do AS2? Can they communicate via WAN or HTTP? The answer is always yes, no matter what the protocol is. And also accredited by GS1, which is the new standard or the new company that took over for the UCC 128 for the United Council Code. All right. So enough about us. We'll talk a little bit about EDI. What the heck is it? Electronic Data Interchange. Could be pretty boring. We'll get to the exciting stuff later. This is pretty much a standard setup where you have purchase orders coming in from a retailer to your organization, whether it's a mom and pop or whether it's a big one. Invoices are going to go back, and that's how they do it. I think gone are the days of a large retailer supporting a large room full of people on faxes and faxing over orders. It's just not very profitable, and it can really hurt the bottom line. So they're going to tell these vendors that they need to do EDI, and this is very soon after the business deal is struck with them, that they can put items on their shelves. So we've got the structured transmission of data between organizations by electronic means. So that's EDI in a nutshell. That's pretty much the simple version of what it is, but as you can see, it can get fairly complex. And our clients, we love to make sure that they're using all the available tools that they can to streamline their business and automate every single process. One that I really love is the factory. You've got an 850, which is also known as the purchase order. Normally those are coming from the trading partners, or what we call the retailers. They're sending the order in, but at the same time, we can grab that order and we can split it and send off a purchase order to the factory to get those parts in, and then an invoice will come back from the factory and get imported into the ERP system. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do, and we're constantly urging all of our clients to make sure that they're getting the most out of EDI and not just settling for purchase orders and invoices. All right, so as you can see, it's a ton of different factors, a lot of things involved doing all this. We get right in the middle of this, so your clients or yourselves, you're not going to have to worry about whether there's an AS2 or a VAN protocol, whether the mailbox is set up or not, whether the mapping tools need to be sent. Those client, or I should say trading partner, retailer relationships that we have fostered over the years has enabled us to, in many circumstances, to bypass the testing. But in the other cases where they will just not outright bypass testing, we are very, very familiar with their mapping specifications. So it enables us to develop those relationships a little bit better, but more importantly, to complete setups in a very, very timely fashion. So we kind of get in the middle of it all. We say it's a hands-off product, and it really is we don't need a lot of information from our clients, maybe a vendor number, that kind of thing. And from there, we take it and we do all the testing, put you into production, show you how to use the B2B Gateway software tools, show you how to automate everything from bringing in purchase orders to setting schedules for your invoices and ASNs. So it's really hands-off. You don't have to do anything. Orders flow in, and all the outbound documents flow out. All right. This is one, called subtraction by addition. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the 4-hour work week, but it kind of reminds me of that a little bit, of taking something away, and which is the cost of having somebody manually key in data all day long. And later on, if you do have questions about that, exactly how much does it cost to key in orders, I can give you a little bit more detail. We'll see some of it, but I can give you more detail on that. And my contact information will be shared. So subtraction by addition. So we're going to add a cost. We're going to add the low cost of having a third-party EDI provider. And after you subtract all the manual entry and all the errors and possible chargebacks, or just the cost of not doing business with with a big box store because you're not EDI compliant, it really, really does add up. Getting paid faster. This is a big deal. We have a client that went from, I think, 10 weeks or even more down to 4 days for their payment cycle, which is not bad. Keeps the cash flowing in, which a lot of businesses depend on, if not all of them. All right, accuracy of data, obviously that's important if it's done automatically and by computers. We all know that computers are a little bit better at math than we are, so that's important. Efficiencies are streamlined, and we're going green. We're saving paper and not having all that office space taken up by the paper and filing cabinets and all that good stuff. All right, so we're going to talk about this first one, getting paid faster. It's faster without error. We're going to improve those cash flow balances. And what was the 8 weeks? I'm sorry, it was 8 weeks, not 10 weeks. So we went from 8 weeks to 5 days, not 4 days, but 5 days. And in some cases, it's actually faster. It really depends on the retailer and what their business processes are. But there are some that will transmit a purchase order. It goes into our client system. We do the data translation and directly import it into the ERP or accounting system, and then we'll get that invoice out. So in some cases, the purchase order and the time between that purchase order and the invoice going back out is a day, maybe less. So this is real big. Get that cash. Uh-oh, boring slide alert. So this is what I was talking about a little bit, about what it's going to cost you to do this EDI. And this is, at the top you see here it says assuming a vendor has 7 active trading partners. That's an average. We have some clients that have over 200 trading partners, and most of them, I think we average about 12 to 14 trading partners. But that doesn't limit you to doing business with B2B Gateway. If you have 1 trading partner and they are demanding that you become EDI compliant, we will absolutely do that for you. So as you can see, average cost $194, about $195. Not bad, not bad. Uh-oh, it's happening again. More boring slides. But this is really, I love this part. I don't know, I want to go Beyonce on this part right here. I just want to put a ring on it because it's great. In-house EDI, and we've had clients at some point say, you know what, we're thinking about bringing the EDI in-house. We're going to do this. So here's really what it's going to take for the manual portion of it. It is not utilizing EDI, B2B Gateway, or anybody else. This is really just a industry average here. Some of these numbers over on the bottom right-hand side, incalculable because A, there are some retailers that use the chargeback as a revenue stream, and they all have different costs associated with chargebacks. So some of them are really, really incredibly high, to the point where all of the profit on a particular order could be erased by the chargeback. So I'm assuming that no business out there wants to send their product and then have to pay extra to the retailer for that product. It seems kind of not the way to do business. So with B2BGateway.net, you're looking at $195 in-house EDI, about a lot more. And if there are businesses that want to try to take the entire thing in-house, now we're talking a lot more money than that. If they want to do the EDI themselves, try to be compliant, now you're going to pay about $75,000, $80,000 for one one programmer to do the mapping, and you hope he or she gets it right. You're going to need servers. You're going to need an AS2 server, depending on the communication protocol that trading partner uses, or VAN, and the VAN fees that go along with that, and just loads and loads and loads of extra costs that will be associated with bringing it in-house. So as you can see, it's a lot easier and a lot less painful to have somebody else do it, particularly us. All right, so we're not going to be rekeying all this data in. You don't want to have a whole room of people. It defeats the purpose of doing EDI. And some of the accounting packages that you saw down below, these are just a few. We integrate with a host of them. Some of the other ones, not well-known ones, we also integrate with those, but we're adding accounting packages and ERPs every day. So if you don't see yours on the list there, it does not necessarily mean that we do not integrate with it. And we can certainly make you EDI compliant, even if it is a solution that does not have an import-export function. Reallocating those staff resources is very important. Of course, you can bring them all back into the sales group, because everybody loves a big sales group. All right, so here's your basic one. I was kind of describing this earlier, using Bed Bath & Beyond. Invoice purchase order comes over, goes right into the ERP. Invoice comes back out, goes through the B2BGateway.net servers. We do the translation, send it back to Bed Bath, and you get paid. In many cases, your trading partner is going to send back what's known as an 820 or a remittance advice, and that's another document that we translate as well. So B2B Gateway handles all 318 EDI documents. So if that question ever comes up, I wonder if they do the 944. I wonder if B2B Gateway can handle the X document. The answer is always yes. We can handle every single one and do on a daily basis. So here's another way where you can streamline the processes, not only be integrated with your trading partners or retailers, but your warehouse as well. Your warehouses, look, that's probably the largest vertical or sector that is seeing an increase of the use of EDI are those 3PLs. So if you're wondering whether your client or you can do business with the 3PL, the answer is yes. And there's also some cases where we'll have one of our clients come to us and say, I'd love to streamline the warehousing part and use EDI, but I talked to my 3PL and they really don't do much with EDI right now. Can you help them out? The answer is yes, there too. We've developed in-house specifications and maps for our 3PLs and other trading partners to use, so we can help them get going on EDI, and that'll help you as well. And it'll make you look like a hero, which is really important. All right. And I talked a little bit about this before, manufacturer, having that streamlined and really pulls the business in nice and tight. You have an order come in, you're going to need parts. PO goes right out to that manufacturer. Manufacturer ships it. You get the parts in, and bang, it goes right out, and you're invoiced accordingly. So number 3, just need to take a deep breath. I know that's a lot to digest right there. So we'll just look at this little guy, kind of the guy on his shoulders walking along there. Accuracy of data. This is absolutely huge. This is where the chargebacks come in if you're doing it yourself or using a third-rate web product which isn't extracting the data directly from your ERP, and you have to punch in all this data. Anytime that you have to punch in data or key data into any system, now you are looking at the possibility of errors. So the point of it all is to increase the data accuracy going into your system so your books are tight, and increase the data accuracy coming out of your system so your retailers and trading partners are happy. So we're getting rid of chargebacks. That's kind of like a byproduct of it. You're not going to be paying for your orders to go out. You're just going to be invoicing. Item cross-referencing is another thing that we handle as well. That question does come up a lot. Okay, I've got this. I've got Sears, and they are ordering item ABC, but what I have, in QuickBooks or NetSuite or Microsoft or Dynamics, I have, I have 1, 2, 3. How is that going to work? We do all that translation again right in the middle on our servers. We set up cross-referencing tables. So when ABC comes over, we say, aha, all right, this means it's 1, 2, 3 in their system. So we'll send it over. That import file will go right in with the item names that you've designated for those items in your accounting package. And then we do the reverse. When documents come out, we do a lookup on the items that are in your system, and then we translate them and send them over to your trading partners exactly as they want to see them in their system. So everyone is happy. Handling of 997s. I've heard this come up a little bit, that you're going to have to handle your own 997s. The 997 is just the functional acknowledgement. It lets us know that a document that we sent over to a trading partner is in order. It lets us know that all the elements and segments of that particular order look good. And we handle those. If there's ever something that is sent over to a trading partner or is sent to us that doesn't look good, say your trading partner sends a purchase order over and it doesn't look good, we handle that by saying, this element was incorrect. It doesn't look good. There was an error here. Please correct that and resend. So we're not going to leave it up to the client to handle all that, because if we're talking about volume here, hundreds of thousands of orders, that's a lot to look at. So we automate the entire thing. Item fulfillment is another thing that we do. We're happy about. It's pretty cool. And that normally happens within the life cycle of the warehouse order and warehouse order shipping confirmation. We send over a 940. So we'll take that sales order right out of your system, and we'll create a 940, which is the warehouse order. We'll send it over to them, and they are going to fulfill that order. and send back a confirmation. That confirmation comes to us. Again, we do the translation and send over the item fulfillment records, which update in your ERP or accounting package. So it's pretty cool. Again, tightening all the operations and making life a little bit better for you, so you can just spend it sipping pina coladas.
Brian.
In Mexico.
Brian.
All right, accuracy of data. Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to be a broken record. I like the pina colada comment. We do have a question here. We have, can you explain the concept of reduced chargeback?
Sure. Absolutely. What a chargeback is, and maybe I didn't explain that, but we have trading partners out there that, in this slide right here, kind of points to that a little bit. We have what are known as testing and validation keys, or I don't really know what to call it, but we have testing and validation procedures and processes. And if you have a trading partner that sends over an order and says, I want 200 of these, and you send back an ASN, or an advanced ship notice, that says, okay, you ordered 200, and here's your advanced ship notice for 100, or say an item doesn't match in their system on that ASN. I'm going to call it an ASN or an 856. What the trading partner is going to do is issue a chargeback because they didn't get the document back correctly, or they didn't get the ship notice back correctly. It could be an invoice as well. Now, if you're doing this on paper, and they're still allowing you to be compliant, to trade with them, there's a much higher incidence of this happening because none of this data is being entered automatically. None of this data is coming into our system and being stored on our servers and then looked up later. So with our testing and validation service, what we can do is look and compare and make sure that the items, the quantities, and all the other pieces of data that are coming over on the purchase order match what's going over on the ASN or the ship notice. If it does not match, that creates an alert, a notification, error notification in our system, which then goes to our clients, and they say, okay, looks like something is wrong with them. So something is wrong with this. Maybe I changed an item in NetSuite and I didn't let B2B Gateway know, or I didn't update the cross-reference. This is going to create that error, let them know they need to fix something, and so we'll fix it before it goes out to that particular trading partner. So if they're not getting these bad documents, they're not going to be getting chargeback. So basically, it's kind of fixing it before it goes out, or catching it. So I hope that answered the question.
And Praveen, you had raised your hand, so I'm going to go ahead and unmute your line briefly here and see if we can make sure we answered your question. Did that answer your question, Praveen? Thank you so much, by the way. Yep, it looks like it answered the question. He unraised his hand, Brian.
Okay, very good. Perfect, thanks. There is another chargeback. There are two different types of chargebacks. One is, just the real nasty one that comes from a trading partner that's going to cost you money. There's also one in the pharmaceutical industry that is a perfectly acceptable one called the chargeback document that we handle as well. That's kind of outside of the scope. So maybe Praveen, maybe that's what you were thinking, or maybe that's how it related to you. But that is another one. I could even do a whole webinar on that sometime if there's a need for it or a call for it. So looking at the slide again, you see that infraction amount 500. That's probably for one infraction. They get expensive. In other words, they can really affect your bottom line. So increasing efficiencies. Everybody wants to do this. Our processing, generally it takes about less than a second for us to process an order. And everything is done in real time, and that's very important. You may even have business processes that say you do not want to have all of your orders come in in live time, and we can certainly set up rules for that. Maybe you want your invoices to batch and go out every Friday instead of every day, or when we go looking for them, automatically in your system. We can do that as well. But what really this is speaking to is how fast we do it all. We're generally polling the van about every 5 to 10 seconds. So from the time that your trading partner sends that purchase order, goes through our system, do the translation, and creates an import file. The processing here, again, about less than a second. We're always striving to get that number down because it's a cool stat. But we're talking about 10 seconds to a minute for any particular order. Fewer stockouts, fewer canceled orders. This is important because you're going to have, in many cases, an 855, which is the purchase order acknowledgement or reject, and that document goes back to your trading partner and says, yes, we absolutely accept this order, and we are absolutely going to ship it. If there's a delay in between when a purchase order is sent over and the time that a vendor gets back to that trading partner, they might cancel the order in between. So this eliminates that possibility, which is huge. Better trading partner scores, improve trading partner relationships, and this is the part that I think is really, really cool. This is what we're trying to get to. Nobody wants to worry about EDI. Few people even care about EDI. They care about the business relationship. They care about making sure that their product stays on the shelf. Or the service is still used. So keeping those trading partner scores up, and your buyer is only calling you to say we're gonna put you in more stores. Those are the conversations that you really want to have with them, not that your EDI provider has been passing documents back and forth that aren't compliant with the specifications, and headaches and stuff like that. That's part of business that you don't want to handle, and that's why outsourcing it, having B2B Gateway do it, is critical. Good conversations, that's really what it comes down to. So I'm going to kind of blow this up a little bit so you can see it just a little bit better. Invoice match performance, that number 94.8, pretty low, pretty high actually. You want to usually see somewhere around 90. So last 12 months, 95%. Last 3 months, 97%. You can see that score is going up. Anything can affect that score. There are also items outside of EDI that can affect your score. Like say you fill a box with 30 items and your ASN says 30 items, and your label says 30 items. The purchase order says 30 items, and you put 20 in the box. Well, that's going to affect your score. So some things can't really handle for you. But there's good news. You'll be a green company. You can put that on your website. You can tweet it if you want. Put it on Facebook. Tell everybody how cool you are by reducing your carbon footprint, lower your energy bills. So operational costs are going to go down. The clutter and space. You're going to be in a Zen state once you introduce EDI to your business. No clutter around. It's going to give you time to meditate a lot more. Less paper, less ink, less storage. I don't know if anybody's seen how much toner costs these days, but it's ridiculous. If you're going to be spending money on toner, you better be doing it for advertising and marketing, and not printing off stuff, because that's a killer. So those things, and there's other ancillary benefits to it as well. Just having a clean mind and a clear conscience, and that's basically it. So what I want to show you now is a demo. And you've heard me refer to ERP or accounting package several times. This one is for the Sage 100 ERP, and it's just an example. I thought it would be best not to show you every single demo that we have and how it connects to the various ERPs, so I'm going to choose one so you're not angry at me, and hopefully you'll be able to see this and hear it as well.
demonstration of 100 Connect for Sage 100 ERP, formerly known as MAS 90 and MAS 200. The first thing you'll notice is that 100 Connect was designed to have the look and feel of Sage 100 ERP, which will make adding 100 Connect to your Sage 100 routine very natural. Starting on the Download EDI tab, click Download EDI from B2B. This will import any EDI documents you have waiting on B2B Gateway servers. Downloaded documents will be shown in the inbound EDI window on the right, and a preview of the selected EDI file will be shown in the inbound EDI detail window below. When you're ready, click Send EDI into Sage 100. After processing, a transaction summary window will pop up, and this will let you know that all EDI was transferred without any problem. You'll have the option to print this report if you need to do so. The next step is to click the Send EDI tab on the left action pane. Choose the type and transaction date of the files you wish to pull from Sage 100, and then click Export from Sage 100. The files will be downloaded and shown in the outbound EDI window, where you can view, archive, or view a summary of each file. Selecting a specific file will produce a preview in the window below. When you're ready, click the Send EDI to B2B Gateway button. Once again, a transaction summary window will pop up showing the number of files successfully transmitted. Next is your EDI Partners tab. This is where you will add the customers which you are trading via EDI. To add an EDI client, click on the magnifying glass at the top of the preview window. Select your customer or supplier, and then click OK. The customer will now show up in the current EDI partner list. If you wish to delete a partner, highlight the name and select Delete EDI Partner from the action pane on the left. This was the interactive way to import and export EDI into Sage 100, but EDI was designed to be hands-off, so B2B Gateway has created an EDI automation tool which will download and send EDI documents automatically. To enable this feature, you'll have to add a schedule, and you can do that by clicking Add Schedule and choose the type, start date, start time, frequency, and transaction type of the schedule, and then click Add. To enable the schedule you just created, all you have to do is click the checkbox at the top of the screen. This is essentially a set it and forget it feature. Two items we will not be covering on this demo are the Client Portal and Warehouse tabs. A separate video demonstration is available for each of these topics on our website. Finally, the System Settings tab will allow you to change your B2B Gateway and Sage usernames and passwords. You can also adjust your system log file settings here. When you're finished, click Save or Cancel on the bottom right. And that's all there is to it. Using B2BGateway.net's 100 Connect for Sage 100 is a simple, user-friendly system that will help you to reduce your costs and errors, as well as speed up your cash cycle payment processes. For additional information, or if you have any questions, let us know by writing us an email or calling 401-491-9595. Thank you.
All right, pretty cool, huh? Not bad, not bad. All right. Here is when I'm going to hand it back. I'm going to hand back the reins back over, and I'm not sure actually if the triple X button is going to work. So I'm going to hand it back over, and then we can do a Q&A portion of it if you want. But I do want to thank you for taking the time to come to the webinar today. I hope you found it exciting and as fun as I did, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Brian. Great presentation.
Thank you.
We do have an additional question, and I think it was related to the first question that we asked. And this question is, in our case, all transactions involve chargebacks, but how is EDI going to reduce chargebacks?
Oh, in that case, it's not going to be a reduction in chargebacks. The reduction in chargebacks that I was speaking of were the ones were not in the pharmaceutical industry. That's a different term or a different usage of the word chargeback. So in pharmaceuticals, you're expected to send, each of the vendors is expected to send and receive the chargeback document, which basically details I believe it is breakage or expired items and stuff like that. So it's definitely unrelated. So there wouldn't be a reduction in those particular chargebacks.
And then I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll real quick if I can ask the audience. Are you interested in learning more about B2B Gateway? Take a few more moments. I see 50% of you have voted. And then I'll be looking to see if there's any more questions while we're finishing up the polls. And then, Brian, we do have a question. What work and cost is involved in getting your customer set up on EDI, assuming we already have the software?
Assuming that you have the software?
Yes, that's what was an additional part of the question. So what work and cost is involved in getting your customer set up with EDI? So you might want to just answer that question, and then assuming if they already bought the software, what would it take from their side to set it up?
Really not much. What we look for is an item list. That's the most important thing. So some of the business details, like a vendor number, your terms, like whether you get paid, net 30 or net 60, your items for us to load into the cross-reference. Those are the things that we really need. So there's very, very little involvement on the side of the vendor to get EDI set up. We just need those things to start with, and then we test. So there's going to be, in the beginning, a little bit more labor where we're going to take a purchase order, we're going to import it, and we're going to ask them to take a look at it. Does it look good? Great. Okay. Can you send us, using the software, can you send us an invoice now? And then we will take that, run it all the way through the system, and send a test. So during the testing phase, that's when it happens. After production, it's completely hands-off. So there's not a lot of work that goes into it on the vendor side. We really do take over for you. We also, we have varying costs. It really depends on which ERP that you're integrating with. But I would invite everybody to go to our website, b2bgateway.net, and you can actually download all of our price guides depending on which ERP system you're using. And that will give you everything, for every single part of the cost of doing EDI with B2B Gateway.
And we do have
as far as that last portion of the question, if I have already purchased the software, you can't actually purchase only the software because it's a proprietary tool that we use. So we don't sell it. So we don't actually do any white labeling of that particular product. So you can't go online and just buy the software. The software, really our costs are associated with doing the mapping, doing the testing, and the document translation on our servers. I hope that answered that question.
I don't see any further questions along those lines. And everybody, we do have another poll. If I may ask you to answer this poll, what ERP software are you running? And I have a few options here. GoToWebinar doesn't give me all the options. So if you could just take a moment and indicate the ERP system that you're running. I see that 50% of you have voted. Okay, and we do have another question, Brian.
Okay.
can you be a little more specific in the case of EDI implementation cost for two vendors, 810, 850, and 856?
Sure. Again, I can't give you the total cost, only because if I don't know the accounting package, then it could be a different cost in the setup details. But generally,
there's an additional there's an additional piece to the question, Brian. Before you answer,
Okay.
he added an additional line here, and the specific product is Mass 100. So I'm thinking it's Sage 100 ERP 4.5.
That sounds about right to me. Again, I'll just so I don't alienate anybody, I'll just say go to the website, and then you'll be able to download our price guide, and you can see exactly. That's why we have it on the site. There aren't any hidden costs, so you can see it. But for the rest of the group, I don't want to alienate anybody in speaking to only one particular accounting package. But when you bring up the fact that you have multiple documents, 810, 850, 856, the more documents that are added or required by the trading partner, generally the more your transaction costs are going to be, which is 6 cents per SKU or per line item. We also have bulk discounting available as well. So if your transaction volume is getting way up there, then we start to break down the SKU price per SKU into tiers. So you're paying less if you have tons and tons of orders and lots of items on those orders, and you're transmitting them on those 810s, and they're being transmitted to you on the 850s, and again back to them on the 856s. So there's a one-time organizational cost, and again it's dependent on your particular ERP, and then there's a monthly maintenance fee. And what that does is take care of all the mapping and specification changes that are done by trading partners very regularly. They'll often send the vendor notification saying that we're going to be changing an element in our maps and our specifications. We need you to do this, and we need you to now send this. And those are forwarded from our clients right to our support engineers, and our support engineers assure them that we're on top of it, so they don't have to really do anything. We handle it all. Another thing that I failed to mention is the support concept that we have here, and that is each and every one of our clients is assigned a support engineer or project manager for the life of their contract. So it's one person that you're going to be contacting on the phone with, or sharing email with. You'll have all that the contact information. So that's very important. We don't have a help desk, so you're not going to be bounced around to somebody that doesn't know your business or doesn't know what particular issue that you're talking about. So we find it to be more expensive to run our business this way, but we find our clients like it a lot better than a help desk.
Okay, so if anybody has any more questions, please go ahead and feel free to raise your hand, that raise your hand button next to your name, or click on the question mark, and we'll take a few moments to answer any last questions that you may have. I wanted to thank everybody for joining us today and for our webinar, and we will be in touch with you after the webinar. We did record the webinar, so we will send you a recording after the presentation today, and we'll just go ahead and monitor the question pane for any more questions. I don't see any more indicated yet. And Brian, did you have anything left to close on? I do see that we have quite a few Sage ERP systems on the line with us today, owners.
Yeah, I could add one more thing. EDI is not always something that is required by a trading partner. So I would urge everyone on the line and to urge your clients and customers. It's really going to make you look good if you say, if you can implement EDI and you can have your customers sending you EDI, that's going to make a big, big difference in the bottom line. Whether your trading partner or whether that retailer is breathing down your neck and saying, you know, you have to do EDI, it's a requirement, do it or don't do business with us. That's one way that EDI is implemented. The other way is to go out and start getting your customers on EDI. So you can kind of force the issue a little bit and say, you know, no more of this manual entry, those the dark ages. We're getting in with EDI, and we're going to see the cost benefits immediately. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day, and let us know if you have any questions. In the meantime, we'll be getting in touch with you. And thank you again, Brian.
So much.
Great presentation.
All right.
All right.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.